So the reason why I named it that was a little backstory. So I was like 19. I got my own place, and when you're 19, you got your own place. You're an attractive young man. Of course, you're gonna have a lot of women over. You're gonna have a lot of parties. You're gonna do a lot of things that aren't for the benefit of you. And at the time, at first I was making okay money, but then I got another job where I was making really good money. So, being a young man, trying to find your way, trying to like be fit into society, you do things that your culture says you have to do, or you're not a man, or you're not a you know how it is, like societal pressures and stuff. Even though I've never been directly associated with societal pressures, but I still feel societal pressures and still fall into those traps sometimes just because I forget. I go back to sleep sometimes. But I'm having all these parties, doing all these things, having a lot of women over, all these things, all these things, all these things, right? So it gets to the point to where something in my mind changes and I start going to this drought. And this drought is like it's a spiritual drought. It's like something's wrong, but I can't figure out what it is. But it's affecting my life so much that I no longer have food in my kitchen. I no longer have money for rent. Um, Lights past due. Not eating for weeks at a time. Like just going through it really bad. So then at this time, I didn't have cable. I just had a radio, and I worked out. That's all I did, like all day. Like that's all I would do, and then hang out with friends. They'll come over, or I'll go over there, whatever. That's all. So that's all I would do. So then I started. So then one day I woke up. I woke up out of my sleep, and it was just random. And I was like, I want to know. And I had no idea what I wanted to know. No idea. Like I just something told me in my mind and made me feel and reverberated in my mind. I have to know, but I didn't know what I needed to know. So I was like, what do I want to know? So I have books. I've always had books in my house because my mom used to give me books when I was younger. So I always kept books. I like to read, especially when I was younger. So I started reading books. At first, it was like it's like societal things, like psychology, like how minds work, how to talk to people, like things like that. But then like the thirst for knowledge kept growing. It was like I was lusting for knowledge. Like I was like falling in love with it. Like it was something that was so like nourishing. And I say lust specifically because it's the same feeling that when you see like a good looking person, you're like, damn, like I want them. It was that type of feeling. It was a lust for knowledge. And then and it sounds weird saying that, but as I continue, you might understand. So I was like, okay, psychology, sociology. Started reading books, like starting reading the books that I already had, and I was just like, man, this isn't enough. And this is when the smartphones like just came out. Like they didn't just come out, but they were getting better. Like you could actually browse the internet on them now. Like the first or second generation of smartphones. I think I had like a Huawei, and this was like in like 2011. No, maybe like 2012. No, it was about 2011 going into 2012. It was October because I remember it because it was such like a pivotal point. So I'm like, okay, well, I only have a limited amount of books. Let me go on the internet. So I started researching random things, and I just research, like read, and it was just so random. So at this time, I'm still working out, and what I'm eating at this point is I'm drinking protein shakes because this woman got me all this protein stuff because she used to sell it, so she used to give me like a lot of protein. So I had these buckets of protein that I used to mix with milk. Once I ran out of money for milk, I used to use water, of course, you know what I'm saying? So that used to be like my breakfast and my dinner. And for lunch, I would have rice and barbecue sauce. I know it sounds crazy, but that rice and barbecue smacks. Like even to this day, I haven't had it in like years, but it smacks. Especially with Sweet Baby Ray's barbecue sauce and some white rice, you're good. Like you're good to go. And that's all I was having. I know it sounds crazy, but I was surviving off that. And then when I ran out of money for barbecue sauce, it was just rice. When I ran out of money for rice, it was just protein shakes. And I was drinking protein shakes for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. But it was what's so crazy about it on the side note, like I was really swole back then. I was like probably like maybe 150, 155, almost 160, but I was just muscle. It was kind of crazy because like my diet was just protein at a certain point. And there's a lot of times where I was so weak that I couldn't do my job. Like my muscles just weren't strong enough to pick up the things that I needed to pick up. Like I was just so weak. But I was still big, but I was just so weak. And this is actually the deterioration of the muscle. But anyways, so at that point, I started getting on the phone, trying to research things, just learning everything I could learn because everything was just like a brand new world, right? So then it hits me, and it's like a voice starts speaking in my mind, and it's weird because it's my voice, but it's not my voice. And this is the first time when I realized I had a mind. Now, I know that sounds crazy because you're thinking, what? This is the first time you realized you had a mind and you said you were 19? Yes. I did not understand that I was thinking in my mind. I did not understand that concept until I was 19 because this voice started speaking to me. And it was crazy because this voice would say things to me and I would do it. And things were like I would feel better because I was doing these things. And it was so weird. It was such a weird experience. It's literally like someone is using like a walkie-talkie and it's plugged into your brain and they're telling you what to do. And I would listen to the voice. And by the time that voice started becoming stronger, it was when I would just be sitting in my living room. I didn't have a TV. I had a TV, but I didn't have no cable, and the only thing I had was like a Super Nintendo, and like I had like maybe three games on it, like Street Fighter 2, Mortal Kombat, and I had another game that I don't remember. But I didn't really play the game like that at that point in time. So I was just sitting there, and I'll sit there for hours and this voice popped in my head and it said go to this place to get a job. So I went to that place to try to get a job, but I couldn't get a job there. So I'm like, man, why is this voice telling me this stuff and it didn't even work out? This is stupid. So I stopped listening to the voice. So so one day I'm at home, right? And I don't have a job right now. Bills are stacking up. I haven't eaten in like 2 or 3 weeks. Like I haven't eaten like real food in like 2 or 3 weeks. All my friends are gone. All the partying is gone. All the girls are gone. Like I'm just like going through it, right? But like I was so I was so distraught for so long that I wasn't even depressed. Like this is just life. Like it wasn't. I didn't identify uh, those stages in my life as depression because I didn't understand what depression even was until I was like in my early 20s. I didn't understand that concept of what depression was. So to me, that was just normal life. That's just how I was. I was just chill. But really, I was depressed. Like if we're going like with terms now, I was depressed. But back then, I didn't understand. I didn't understand that. I didn't understand something was wrong because I just thought it was life. So I'm sitting down, and mind you, I'm sitting down for hours at a time, just staring at the blank wall, literally, right? And then I fall asleep, and when I fall asleep, you go into darkness, right? So for some reason, I jolt up and I look straight at this candle that I brought at the dollar store because I liked the way it looked. And then I went over to the candle because this voice in my head is talking to me. I went over to the candle and I picked it up and I read it. And it was Saint Lazarus. And Saint Lazarus is the patron saint of suffering, right? And basically, it was a Roman soldier cut his cape to get to Lazarus because it was cold. And like that was the scene on the candle. Now, mind you, I didn't know at the time that this was a foreshadow upon my whole life. I did not realize that. I did not realize that that connection at that moment was foreshadowing years to come. Did not realize it whatsoever. So then so when I read it and I sat back down, I'm like, dang, that's crazy. So I kind of sat with it for a little bit. So then the voice in my head told me to pick up the Bible. So I picked up a Bible, and shout out to my childhood friend Matt. He got me a Bible when I was like 11, 12 years old. And I never read the Bible, but I always kept it with me. Always kept it with me. And actually, Rebecca gave me the Bible. And I always kept it with me, right? So, shout out to them for real, for real. So, I got my Bible. It wasn't even hard to find for some reason. Like, I never read it. Well, I've read it previously, but not seriously. So I got it. I sat down and I was like, man, where do I start? And then I'm flipping through it and it says James, which is my name. So I'm like, dang. So I read it. So I'm reading it. It's like going in one ear out the other. But then the last verse on it hit. It just hit like my mind like formulated like a quantum field of force. And the last verse said, those who follow Jesus Christ will never go hungry again. And mind you, at the time, this is like 2 or 3 months of in starvation. Like, not where like, oh, I'm really hungry. No, I'm talking about starvation to where your body goes in ketosis for so long, it starts eating your muscle. Like at this point, I was like 155. I got to the point to where I was at 140. Like, I don't know if you realize how much like weight drop that is in those few months, but that's a lot. And I was already lean and athletic. So me being at 150, I was big. But losing all that weight, I looked super skinny and malnourished, which I was. Which low key I still am because of the mindset that I'm telling you about at this point in time in my life when I'm 19. So when I read that last verse, those who follow Jesus Christ will never go hungry again. I'm like, dang, Jesus Christ, I don't want to be hungry no more. And when I said that, I guess that's like the point in time where I accepted Jesus Christ into my heart. Like that's what they like. That's how it kind of goes, right? So from that point on, for like 3 to 6 months, all I did was read the Bible. Like that's all I did was read the Bible, 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 read the Bible. That's all I did. I read the Bible. I read the Bible for so much, like so long, that I couldn't talk about anything else but the Bible. Cause in the first spiritual developing stages, you're you're on fire. So you want to tell people about it. You want to like spread the word. You want to spread the gospel. You want to be a disciple. You want to be like the apostles. You want to be like these characters in this book because it's changing your life and you're seeing it. So I ended up getting a job. I ended up getting a good job. I got paid like $8.10, and like back then, like you can have your own apartment. You probably couldn't have a car comfortably, but you can have your own apartment. But I stayed on the bus line, so it didn't even matter. I rode my bike to work most of the time anyway. So like I was always very active like that. So I was making $8.10, which was more money I've ever made at this point in time. And and it was like, oh, this is awesome, right? So I'd bring home like maybe 475 every 2 weeks. Like it wasn't anything, but my rent was only like 450 at the time. So bringing home almost $1,000 a month. Electric was like maybe $30, and then that was it. You know what I'm saying? Then bus fare and food and stuff. So So as I'm going through these changes, all the friends I used to party with, I'm telling them about God and stuff like this, and like, man, you changed, man, you changed, all of that stuff, of course. So long story short, cut all like the small pieces out. So I get to this point where my fire is like dying off on the outside, but on the inside, I have that pressure, like I gotta know, I gotta know, I gotta know. So once this gets to this inner point to where I don't need to express it anymore. I just want to find out more. That's when it got to the next level, and that's when it started getting like that's when like it started getting spiritual for me.